and one silly joke. And I was going to do what I do best. I was going to call a meeting to order, but I don't think that's appropriate. So this little lady went to get her annual physical. And she came home and her husband said to her, how did it go? And she said, he told me I have the body of a 30-year-old. And he said, what did he say about your big fat ass? And she said, your name never came out. My favorite joke, a little off color, I hope I don't offend anybody, but this little old lady bought a Schnauzer dog. And she, as you know, a Schnauzer dog has its ears clipped. And she noticed after a few weeks that long hairs were growing out of the Schnauzer's ears. And so she took the dog to the veterinarian. And the veterinarian said, oh, so that's very common with Schnauzers, so don't worry about it. He says, what you have to do is go to the drugstore and buy a bottle of Nair. And she says, well, what is Nair? And he said, well, Nair is a cream that you put on the body that gets rid of unwanted hair. And she said, oh, well, okay. So she goes to the drugstore. And the druggist says, well, hello, how are you? What can I do for you? And she said, well, I'd like to buy a bottle of Nair. And he said, oh, well, we have a lot of Nair. And I want to tell you, though, if you're going to use Nair on your legs, don't wear hose for at least 2 weeks. And she says, well, I'm not going to use it on my legs. And he said, well, if you're going to use it on your underarms, then just don't use deodorant for at least 2 weeks. And she says, well, I'm not going to use it under my arms. And he says, well, what are you going to use it for? And she said, I'm going to use it on my Schnauzer. And he says, don't ride a bicycle for